And welcome to another Cardinals Nest, the sports show devoted exclusively to St. Mary's University and its athletic programs here on HBC Channel 25. Thanks for watching. Dean Beckman, Donny, Nadeau, and today our feature will be softball. Women's softball at St. Mary's. All of the spring sports are underway, but softball in action. We have the head coach, Jen Miller, and Hailey Ohl, a senior for the Cardinals team. And Hailey, you've been here on the Cardinals Nest before, but now a senior. You're a criminal justice major, so what does it feel like? I know you're already counting down the days to graduation, right?
I am counting down the days. If we can only get a season in, that would be wonderful. But it's crazy. Coach and I have talked about it a bunch now, that these 4 years flew by so fast. And as of now, it's crazy counting down the last games and the last time to play, and so it's bittersweet. So
it kind of takes us to what piece of advice would you have for maybe a high school student who's watching, will be entering college soon, or maybe a college freshman? What piece of advice do you wish you had then that you have now and can give to others?
Soak it all in. Don't ever take anything for granted. Those practices that you just wish that they would be done, those are the ones that you're like, oh, I just wish I could have one more of those. So as of now, it's just counting down the days and soaking it all in.
Yeah,
so.
But I bet you're not wishing for one more haunted forest.
That's right. Not one more haunted forest, no. But we were just talking about before
it's been a great 4 years for you, and I'm sure there's a lot of memories. But if you had to, in those first 3 seasons, since we don't have this one done yet, but if you could just talk about maybe what your favorite moment has been, or your favorite time during the softball seasons was, what would it be?
It's definitely the teammates. The friends that I have made so far. I mean, high school, everybody thinks high school is the best time of your life. You have all your best friends there, but really college is where it's at. You'll make the best friends you can possibly have. I mean, I'm still in contact with a bunch of girls from the softball team, and weddings are coming up and all this stuff, so it's fun to be able to have that kind of bond with teammates and stuff. So definitely teammates and friends made so far.
Jen, let's put Hailey on the spot a little bit. You recruited her 4 years ago to come play here. How has she changed, not only on the field but off? How has she grown in your eyes as the coach?
Sure. Hailey, when we started recruiting her, she was a strictly right-handed hitter. We moved her over to the left side, so she's done a little slapping, bunting from the left side as well, so she can switch hit. Just growing from a first-year player and watching them grow into a senior. Hailey's grown into a marvelous young woman, so wishing her the best of luck as she moves on after us. We'll greatly miss her, but hopefully we can end this her 4 years here at the great season, playing for us at first base and being the leader that she's grown into being.
Hailey, talk a little bit about that, being one of the leaders, because obviously, from all the softball I've seen, you certainly are one of the leaders, not only on the field, but off as well. As you approach this senior year, how do you look at that role as one of the leaders?
It's basically, I've just taken after the people that have led before me. Freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, it's been, plenty of other leaders that haven't technically been named captain. There's not really such thing as captain on our team. There's, people as freshmen stepping up and leading the team. So as of now, I'm just letting everybody kind of do their part on the team, and it's awesome to be, a leader on the team. It's natural for me and for other girls on the team as well. So it's a nice gift to be able to be named captain and stuff like that. But there's plenty of other spots on there that girls step up. So learning basically from other leaders in the past have definitely helped.
And we'll keep you on the spot now. And Jen actually brought it up. Talk a little bit about that change offensively, because when you did come in, you were a right-handed hitter, and that's what you did. Yeah. Now you have the ability to still hit from the right, but really you're more of a left-handed slap hitter. Talk about that change and that adjustment. Really happened sophomore to junior year?
Yep. So in high school, I was always a righty hitter. High school varsity, I hit 3 or 4. Came in here, and it was a little bit of a shock for me. The college pitchers are a lot different. So freshman year, I got maybe 3, 4 at bats. Sophomore year, came in with a completely different perspective. I asked Coach, "Hey, what can I do to, start here? I would really like a starting spot." And she goes, "Well, let's see if you can hit lefty." So I just started working on lefty slapping and picked it up pretty fast. And so that's what I've been mostly doing. Sophomore year was mostly lefty, junior, and this year I've been switching back and forth. So.
Hailey, I'm curious, besides the hitting from the left side, what else from on the field do you think has really improved for you over the 4 years?
I would definitely just say leadership. Being comfortable with college softball, it takes a little bit to kind of gain, confidence and stuff with, I mean, you're playing with girls that are 22 years old and you're coming in as an 18-year-old and you just feel like a little girl. But coming in, it's definitely confidence level. As a senior now, it's so fun to be able to just go out there and play rather than worried about messing up or not having a spot on the team, but just going out there and having fun. And Coach just said it in practice yesterday that practice is the time to improve and work on stuff, and when you play, it's time to just play and have fun. So,
Jen, certainly one of the things that Hailey had to adjust to is a little patience. You know, every player you recruit is probably the star on their high school team or one of them.
Right.
And that doesn't guarantee them a starting spot or even a lot of playing time at St. Mary's. So as a coach, when you're out recruiting and then dealing with them as they come in as a freshman, how do you try to help that process, keep them engaged, keep them focused, with the understanding that by the time they're a senior, they could be a leader on the team?
Yep. When we go on recruit, we look for obviously talented players, but also athletes who are coachable, that are willing to come in and play on an excellent team. You go out and recruit the stars on their team, so when they come in, you just want to make sure that they understand that it's a team sport, that we're working all towards the same goal. So anything you can contribute from as a freshman or up to a senior, if you can contribute something to the team, whether it's just being a pinch runner, to being a pinch hitter, to being the starting catcher, everything plays into the success of our team and how far we go in the season. So.
Hailey came back from your final, as we talk about your final spring trip. Talk a little bit about the games in Tucson, not only from a strategy standpoint, how you guys finished, but more so in terms of how important that is to kind of mesh this team together.
yeah, when I was on here sophomore year, we talked about a lot about the spring trip of how it's kind of a trip with your best friends. It's kind of a make or break it to see who's going to fit in with the team, who needs a little extra push to kind of gain, make sure that they're comfortable. But the spring trip, I always come back and say how fun it is. It is an absolute blast. I mean, like I said before, it's going on a trip with your best friends. So 6-3, decent. Should have gone 9-0 easily, but that's the way it goes, I guess. But yeah, based on just team chemistry and stuff, it's definitely a fun time for all the girls to get together and just be together all the time. So it was a lot of fun.
Jen, I'm sure the trip down to Tucson and the trip back probably weren't so much fun, but talk a little bit about the games. You played a lot of teams that you've never faced before, so you saw some different competition as you come back and played 2 games against River Falls. Where are you guys situated right now in terms of where you should be at this time of year?
Sure. The spring trip is really just a time to go down and see what you have, see what hitters you have, what kind of defense you have, things to work on, just a way to work out the kinks. Is a good way to describe a spring trip, and get some playing time, get some live at-bats for that reason. Just to see where people should be in the field, different options that we have. So I think it was a good trip for us. We played some close games. 3 of the games we lost by 1 run. Just a couple innings here and there that we should have got out of. But those are things you learn from coming back to a very powerful MIAC conference. So being able to get those games under our belt, see where we are, especially with the River Falls, they're a great hitting team. They could hit the ball. So, and those are some of the teams that we're going to face this year in our conference. So, good learning experiences.
Well, and Jen, it sounds like offense was one of your strengths down there as well. I noticed the scores were high scoring, and your team came out and on top in most of them.
Definitely, yep. We got good hitters, top of lineup all the way down. So, if we can find some good pitches, take some good at-bats, and just move some runners around, I think we'll be pretty good.
A lot of different lineup changes. Obviously, if you look at the box scores, you can see that you're trying to find where people are situated. As you head into your conference opener against Augsburg, are things about where you expect them to be in terms of a lineup?
Sure. We have a pretty good lineup right now, just a matter of figuring out where people should be just situated in the lineup to be the most successful. Not that lineup will stay the same throughout the year. Some people are hot some weekends, some people aren't. So, but I think we have good hitters in the lineup, and I can move them wherever they need to move to be the most successful depending on the day. So
nice to play those games outdoors in Tucson because you're probably not going to play many outdoor for a while.
Right.
Talk a little bit from a coaching standpoint, and then Hailey, I'm going to ask you the same question, but how do you survive a Minnesota spring? Because you look right now, you're supposed to open up on the 28th of March outside, and there's still a foot of snow on the ground. How do you keep your players focused, and how do you really prepare for a season that you don't know when is really going to start?
sure. We have a bunch of indoor practices. Obviously, we have a good facilities for that, and then we're going to try to play some of our games indoors in a dome, which we do have that ability to do from a softball perspective. So we'll be able to do some of that. Just a matter of getting back to fundamentals some days in practices, just doing a bunch of different competition stuff, just to keep them Mike can practice a little bit as it gets long in the rack, that type of thing. So just a matter of switching up practices as much as you can. It is very hard though, as it gets longer and longer in the season, 5, 6, 7 weeks in the recreational athletic facility. So we'll see how it goes.
And Hailey, as a player, how because it is tough. You got to play 9 games outside. The weather was nice for the most part, and you come back here and now you're really looking at 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks more of practicing for sure, practicing inside, and then playing in a dome as well.
Yeah, it's brutal to say the least. It is. It's tough, but Coach always says control the controllables. So there's nothing we can do about it now. So make the most out of practicing in the rack. Take every at-bat, every grounder seriously, because who knows when we'll be outside again. And then really playing in the dome is not the worst possible thing. It's nice not to be freezing. I mean, there's nothing worse than going out there and playing a game when it's freezing outside. Nobody can feel their hands. Nobody, they just want to be out of there. So for a senior year season, it would not be bad playing in a couple games in the dome to start off. But yeah, just controlling the controllables. There's nothing we can do about it now, but as of now, we're just taking it day by day. So.
We talked a little bit, Coach, about finding places for people to play and whatnot. And I'm going to take Hailey off of the spotlight here, and I want to put another one up there, and that's Paige Carter. And we talked a little bit about this last year. She's an outfielder,
Yep.
but she's also your second pitcher, and really that's a position that she's doing for the team out of the necessity of needing that second pitcher. And really it kind of says a lot about your senior class, because they're, you talked earlier about doing things that are best for the team. Can you talk a little about having her do that for the team?
Sure. And what I tell them is that every player comes in with a primary position, but we also need a secondary position out of everyone just in case things like this happen. One year we went on a spring trip and everyone was sick. We almost had to have our manager play. So just being able to have those people be able to move around and be willing to move around for the success of the team. So if you're willing to put in the time and help us out in that way so that your team is successful, not just yourself, you're helping to get the team successful. And that's what she's done for us. And hopefully she's liked doing it. And we can move on from there. So just being able to have those people on your team is a great asset, and I think we have many of those type on our team.
And that's really, Hailey, that's got to help the younger players to see that people are willing to make sacrifices, because again, I mean, I don't want to single Paige out, but you look at somebody who's really been your starting center fielder for 4 years, and you need her to do some pitching, and she's willing to make that sacrifice, so to speak. That's got to say a lot to the younger players.
It does. Paige, being one of the captains, is a great leader. She is a great softball player, and it's tough to be a starting outfielder and then having to come in once in a while and pitch. But Kayla, our starting pitcher, needs a break every once in a while. She's really held this team down. I mean, without her, we would really be struggling. So we are forced to have a good hitting lineup, which is awesome because we do. And Paige just comes in and does what she needs to do for the team. And I hopefully the younger girls see that's kind of how St. Mary's softball is. And sometimes you got to take one for the team in order to make the whole team successful. So,
Jen, talk offensively. This team, like you said, top to bottom, they can, you guys can score runs. And Nat Bossier really has come on as a freshman and really is hitting the ball well. She came back from spring trip hitting over 600, and that's just the start.
Yep.
You can go right down the order. Offense is definitely going to be a strong suit for you.
Yep, offense will be a big strong suit for us. If we can pick those good pitches, have good at-bats, move some of those runners, I think that we're going to stay in and win a lot of games that way. And then just making sure that we're staying conscious on defense, making good plays, and know where we're going, and making those plays that we need to make. I think that we're going to stay in a lot of games. So, but our offense, we got some hitters on our team. We can hit the ball. So, and I'm happy about that. They've worked hard in the off season, getting in the cage, and working hard when season starts, just to really work on it and drive that ball to the gaps.
And Hailey, maybe talk a little bit about some of those players, Nat and Kristen Thielen as well. Some of the underclassmen really playing well right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams take, especially Kristen, they kind of look at her and don't think much of her. I mean, she's just a string bean. So they think of her like, oh, this is nothing. And she's kind of stepped up to that #1 spot in the hitting lineup and has done an absolutely incredible job. She's so quick on the bases, and you get a little gap or ground ball, and she's gone. So Kristen's really stepped up, and Natalie, I mean, I'm so proud of her to be able to come this season. And technically, she's a sophomore, but this is her first year playing, and she has really, really stepped up this year, and yeah, she's hitting the ball good. So, but Coach Miller and I have talked about this plenty of times, that middle lineup that we have for hitting is just on fire right now. So hopefully it'll stay that way.
Yep. Well, almost out of time here with this segment. Donnie, one more question.
Well, I was just going to, as long as we're talking about the offense and how that's probably going to propel you, talk real quickly about the conference season. It opens up on the 28th against Augsburg, and then it's boom, let's go, and cram all these games into about a month.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about the season and the conference in general.
Sure. Obviously, the MIAC is a great conference. Got a lot of great competition. We're going to open with Augsburg on the 28th at their dome. And then we'll move on to, we're supposed to play at Bethel on the 2nd. That game will probably move to a dome as well. We're in the middle of rescheduling that. So hopefully we just keep moving on from there. Hopefully our non-conference games don't get booted, but they might due to the snow and other fields in the WIAC and the MIAC and in Iowa. So we'll see how those go, but it'll be a good season, good competition, and I think we have a good chance of making the playoffs again and moving on from there. So.
Hailey, you're a senior, criminal justice major. You're graduating. What's next for you after May 11th?
Yep, so we graduate on May 11th, and then starting May 20th, I'll be going to the Police Academy boot camp. That will be May 20th, and that's in Alexandria, Minnesota, and that's for 10 weeks, so I'll graduate July 26th. After that, I take my post-board exam, it's called, which is in August, and then I'll be eligible to be hired as a police officer somewhere, hopefully.
Well, that's terrific, and you've had a great 4 years, and we certainly wish you the best of luck as you go into the police academy.
Thank you.
All right, Hailey Ohl, Jen Miller joining us on the Cardinals Nest. Good luck the rest of the season here.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. Donnie and I will be back to talk some baseball and tennis next here on HBC.
So you know how some cable companies have these bundle deals where if you purchase their TV, telephone, and internet together, you save? At HBC, we're taking it one step further. Get your TV and phone service through HBC, and we'll give you internet absolutely free. That's right, free. And you still save money. Some packages can save you up to $660 a year, and it's all backed by our 30-day guarantee. The best part? Free internet is available to all customers, new and existing. Go to hbci.com to see which free internet package is right for you, or call 888-474-9995.
A state-of-the-art fiber optic network. Sure, you've all heard that. But what does it mean? Well, if you're an HBC customer,
It's television in crystal clear high definition and whole home DVR. Blazing fast internet speeds, perfect for gaming or movies. Phone service with your choice of features, including unlimited long distance. And now, HBC has expanded service throughout much of southeast Minnesota. Call today and see what it's like to be on a state-of-the-art fiber optic network with a local company receiving national recognition for their service.
Winona Homes was offered a deal from another company.
I switched to another company because they made some promises and I was going to get a better rate, so I switched.
But when she tried their deal, she ran into some issues.
The other company that I was with wasn't local. You couldn't even get somebody to come to your office.
At HPC, customer service is our #1 priority for your business. Let's just say Jenny is a lot happier now.
I have never had such fast customer service.
To see how HBC can help your business, call Melanie at 474-5802.
And we're back here on the Cardinals Nest on HBC. This is the sports show devoted to St. Mary's University and its athletic programs. Dean Beckman, Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau joining us as well, co-hosting the Cardinals Nest. And Donny, it wasn't just the softball team that went to Arizona this year. You went on the trip first of all, but then we also had the entire baseball team down there taking part in its spring games. You had a chance to see both softball and baseball. Baseball got off to a little bit of a slow start down there, losing their first two, but then picked it up big time and ended up with a winning record down there in Arizona.
Yeah, they started out, their first two games against Wartburg and Concordia Chicago, two very, very good teams, and I think that part of the problem they ran into is we got into Tucson late on Sunday night, and they played right away Monday morning. There was a little bit of jet lag there, and I don't think that Coach Winicky would be afraid to say that they really weren't necessarily maybe mentally and physically ready for those first two games. They got some rest after those two games and put together a 7-game winning streak, and then Concordia Chicago had to rain on their parade to end the trip with a loss there. But a very solid performance by them. They finished 7-3 in their 10 games, and it was a lot of baseball in a week span. You figure that they played. Several of their games are 9-inning games, and they played a couple of days where they had double headers of 9-inning games. So there was a lot of baseball being played, and Coach Winicky got to do exactly what he wanted to, and that's see a lot of people play through a lot of pitchers, get a lot of people some innings, and really get outside and play. We talked a little bit with Coach Miller about that, and I think for baseball it's even harder than for softball because there aren't a whole lot of places in the state of Minnesota that they can play a game indoors aside from the Metrodome, and Coach Winicky's going to take advantage of the Metrodome the best he can with 6 non-conference games before their conference season starts. But once this conference season starts, now you're waiting for all that snow to melt and fields to be ready to be played on.
Well, there were two teams in particular that they were really able to score some runs on. Presentation College was one. They scored 11 runs in the first game against them, 19 in the nightcap, winning 19-6 there. And then the Illinois Institute of Technology, they put up 12 runs in the first game, 15 runs in the second game. So the offense, just like with the softball team, the offense definitely starting out hot.
No question. And I think that the wins over Presentation were really good. And I know that you can talk to Coach Jacobson and to Coach Winicky. And 2 years ago we played Presentation in Phoenix during our spring trip, and they beat us twice. And those were 2 games that they really stuck in their minds because they were 2 wins that they should have had and let slip through their fingers, and they weren't about to let that happen again this year. And when that offense gets cranked up, it's going to be it's fun to watch. They've got the same with the softball, but they've got that baseball team's got a lineup that is really exciting to watch. You've got a ton of players who are extremely talented. You look at their 3 all-conference players in Paul Lanassa and John Schlemmer and Kevin Gannon. And Vince Lulick is playing outstanding in left field and doing a great job at the plate. And then there's some new guys, some new freshmen who are really adding another dimension to this team. And I think one of the things you look at all of those runs that St. Mary's is scoring, a lot of that is they're manufacturing their own runs. They're a very fast team. They're not afraid to steal bases. They're heading into their games against Cornell on Monday in the Metrodome with 29 stolen bases. And that's a lot of stolen bases in 12 games. So they're not afraid to steal bases, and they're taking advantage of opportunities, and that's how you're going to score a lot of runs. Is get runners on base, get them in scoring position, and then they've got players that are coming through with the big hits when they need them.
Well, you mentioned a few of them. Taylor Thelleman really breaking out to a fast start.
Absolutely, and that's really good to see. He played very well in the field as well, a solid shortstop, and he's getting his opportunity to play. And is making the most of it. And Taylor had a great spring trip, and I know Coach Winicky's going to need him to be ready to go in the field. He and Steph Skatasa are kind of splitting time at shortstop, and Steph also is doing some pitching. So when Steph is pitching, then Taylor's going to be at short, and they need him to do the job. And right now, he's doing a great job.
Well, right now, the 2 shortstops they're hitting 375, 360 respectively. Pretty good for the.
Yeah, when you've got 9 guys that are hitting over 300, that's that's pretty impressive, and that's important, because you want to score runs, you want to give your pitchers the opportunity to not have to be picture perfect. Of course, Coach Jacobson, the pitching coach, wants them to be picture perfect, but you're going to have times where the pitchers might not be right on their game and be giving up some runs, and if you can score, then that gives them a little bit of leeway, and they don't have to be exactly on their A game every single time they're out, and I think that's pretty important. And like I said, you've got some freshmen who are stepping in. Willie Dahl is doing a great job at the top of the order for the Cardinals. He's already got 9 stolen bases in 10 attempts, and is really fun to watch in the outfield. And so there are a lot of people making some noise. Depth is going to be key. The Cardinals are going to need to be a deep team. The pitching staff is looking solid. I think that the upperclassmen are kind of leading the way. You've got Teddy Van Ranst, who had an outstanding year last year, kind of picking up where he left off. Justin Cronenbusch is ready for a solid senior year, and then Matt Biagini pitched extremely well in Tucson, and is going to be looked on as another one of those starters that Nick's going to kind of lean on to get the job done. And then you've got so many other pitchers in there who are able to give them quality innings. And in a season that's going to be very short and very compact, you're going to need a lot of pitchers. And so that's going to be a key. Is not only are your starters like Teddy and Justin and Matt, but how about some of those other guys who are going to be called in to have to make some starts for the Cardinals? They're going to have to do the job. So there's going to be a lot of people called on to get the job done this year.
I know in talking to some of the guys, they were disappointed in their return trip from Arizona. They lost to Wartburg down there, kind of a big score, 12-2. That was that first game. Came back, played them in the Metrodome, and lost 2 games to them. The second game very close, 4-3. 7-0 was the first game lost. But there's a real sense of disappointment that they didn't perform better there in the Dome.
Absolutely, and I think that that's the beauty of this team, and I noticed that the minute you stepped on the plane with them is they're about business. They know that they've got a job to do. They certainly turned a few heads last year by making it to the conference playoffs, and they expect to get back there again this year. And games like the Wartburg games like every one of their games down in Tucson, those are games to get ready for the conference season. And they did not play very well in the Dome against Wartburg, and they knew it. And I think that's a sign of a good team, is they're not satisfied. They're not satisfied losing by 1 run in that second game. Sure, it was great to see them come back and be able to bounce back from a disappointing game 1 and at least play a close game, but they're not satisfied with that. They want to win games, and they want to be ready for that conference season. And I think that's a sign of a good team, and hopefully they'll be able to get these next 4 games in. They've got Cornell for 2 games on Monday, and then they've got Superior on Thursday. Those are their last 4 Dome games before the conference is supposed to open up. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens with the snow.
So now with tennis, they were in Florida over spring break. They come back, get right back into conference competition. Both women and men knock off Hamlin right away after their trip to Florida.
Yeah, women win 8-1, and the men won 6-3. Men's match was an incredible match. They were up 2-1 after doubles, and then in the singles portion, all 5 of the 6 singles matches went to the third set superset, and St. Mary's was able to come away with a 6-3 win. They flip around, and they both played St. Thomas on Saturday. St. Thomas, one of the top teams in the conference, kind of had the Cardinals' number, beating both teams 8-1. But both teams are playing very well right now. I know Coach Halberg was really pleased with the way they played down in Florida, and in general, he was happy with the way they played. Over the weekend. The women have a busy weekend this weekend with St. Catherine on Friday here at home, and then they head to Madison on Sunday against Edgewood and St. Norbert, and then the men are in action on Saturday with 2 non-conference games against Edgewood and Augustana. So kind of a chance in the middle of their conference season to step out of conference play and get some matches in where maybe they can tweak the lineup a little bit, because after that, then they're really going to hit the stretch run of conference matches.
And just a few seconds left here, Donnie. They had a good trip down to Florida, pretty successful.
Yeah, it was. They played very well, and the men are playing outstanding tennis right now. And Colin Kazarowski, a freshman, has really stepped up and really provided a lot of depth for the Cardinals. And they're going to need that in the conference, because most of the teams they play are very, very deep.
Yep. All right. Thanks for watching the Cardinals Nest right here on HBC.